What's up, guys? Mason here, Cardinal Gaming. Appreciate you clicking on the video, supporting the channel, supporting the store like you guys always do. Wanted to talk to you guys about the big change to Troll Toad's EVO program, and I'm going to be theory crafting a little bit, and we're going to talk through this, but having some experience with the same kind of thing that Troll Toad does, I'm going to give you an idea of why they may have brought this about, and we're going to talk about that. If you don't know what's going on, it's all good. I'm going to explain it all to you. Full disclosure, I really like Troll Toad. They're good. I share the state with them, so they're just right down the road, like 2.5 hours. I can, support them and do all that stuff with them as well if I wanted to. But I use TCG Player, and I'm even more like TCG Player's EVO program, where I'm a direct seller with TCG Player as well. So, kind of a big deal with TCG Player. This is not a slam on Troll Toad or anything. In fact, I think it's a very smart thing that they're doing, but we'll talk about it and explain everything. So, if you don't know what the EVO program is with Troll Toad, basically, you as a seller can send them all your cards, whatever cards you want to sell. You set the price for them, and then they list them on their website in the bottom section, similar to like TCG Player does, where you can just pick a seller that you want to buy from. And then it's like a marketplace where everybody's has all their cards thrown in there, and you can pick and choose based on price and condition and everything, just like you can on TCG Player. The difference between that is that you have to send the cards to them first. With TCG Player Direct, you just have to fulfill TCG Player's orders when they come in, basically. So I can list something on TCG Player, and then when it sells, TCG Player ships it for me. And then I replenish TCG Player's stock of that card. So that's how it works. Whereas EVO is just kind of more straightforward. You send the cards in, they list them for you. Another thing you can do with EVO, which is kind of nice, you can do this with TCG Player too, but it's more of a move that people would do on Troll Toad, is that you can just send them whatever. And they'll sort it for you, and they'll list it for you, and categorize it, and you can just sell it on there. So, in theory, I can just go to Troll Toad, get my van, load it up with my 580,000 Pokemon cards, and go, here, Troll Toad, sift through this, list it for me, match lowest active listing on it, and send me my checks. And then they'll take a percentage out based on that, whatever it is. So, what we saw EVO become to a lot of people is basically like a dumping ground for you to send all your bulk, and you're like, I don't want to worry about it, I'm just going to throw it at Troll Toad EVO. And because it's bulk, I don't care what it sells for. Whatever it sells for is fine. So it's really competitive all the way down to try to be the lowest price, so you're higher up on the list, so you sell faster. And that's how races to the bottoms and on these marketplaces work. TCG Player works in that, and it's different with TCG Player, because TCG Player also has a back end that I use for our store. With the kiosk system, I can have my inventory in store as well as on the marketplace on TCG Player. I can have different prices based on that. I can have prices in store be higher. I can have prices on TCG Player be higher so they don't sell as fast. There's a lot of good ways and a good ecosystem around direct with TCG Player that EVO just doesn't have. Again, I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know anything about the EVO program other than just the basics. I'm not sure what all the things that you have available to you as an EVO seller. But that's the way I understand it. So, why did Troll Toad make this change? And if you don't know what the change is, basically, they purged a bunch of users off of the EVO program and kept a select few. I don't know how many had before or what's after. I don't know, all that stuff. But basically, they removed a bunch of people, and they increased the fees because, like I said, people would just send in their doo-doo, and they'd be selling cards for next to nothing on Troll Toad through their EVO program. And people don't care what the price is because it's bulk or whatever. It doesn't matter to them. Sell it for whatever you want as long as I get a cut of it. And especially with the price is bulk crashing and being so low as it is, you can only have a couple good things in there and still be doing pretty good for, if you pay $2 per 1,000 for Pokemon bulk, and you just ship that stuff all to Troll Toad through the EVO program. $2, you can make that buck back in a couple cards. Who cares what kind of fees they're taking out on that point? So just, yeah, take it all. Send it all and let them sort it and all that stuff. Obviously, that's not cost effective for them. Troll Toad also sells on their own platform, so it's kind of self-destructive in a way, where Troll Toad makes less money by having more sellers on their marketplace because those sellers don't care enough to keep the prices competitive. So, yeah, they're going to purge the system because bulk is so cheap. They themselves can buy the bulk for so little and list it on their own website and make infinitely more money than having to compete with all the other sellers. That way they don't have to race to the bottom either. So that is the reasoning I can think of why they would make these changes to EVO, is that they're kicking all these sellers that don't care and list low value items so that they themselves can list all their stuff and have it be cheaper. Because with the market as it is now, you don't need a bunch of sellers putting up their bulk. It needs, in the expensive times, back in the couple of years ago, this 2-year span before now, you needed sellers on there to help and make sure your stock was healthy, so that when somebody came to the website, that they wouldn't be disappointed and then go to TCG Player. So you want all these sellers listing all this stuff on there to make sure that the stock stays filled, so that you can actually have items when the customers come to buy it, whatever it is. Now it's not as important because things aren't moving as fast, and especially with the EVO program being how it was, again, people were just throwing whatever at them. Not the good expensive cards. Nobody was doing that. I mean, there was people. But there's no point in keeping a seller that's just throwing you bulk, because all they're doing is harming the other sellers and yourself by pushing the prices down. So it makes a lot of sense, Troll Toad. You did a good job. Good business move, especially now that things aren't as stonky crazy as it is now, or as it was now. So that's a good move there. And that's really what caused, and I think was the motive behind kicking all these people off of the EVO program and kind of being more selective about who stays and who doesn't. Of course, they're rolling it back now, and people are going and talking about how they reached out to them and they were able to stay, which is fine. I mean, it's up to them at the point. I'm like, how much they value you as a seller. If you're only throwing them bulk and you're not selling anything else, of course they're not going to keep you. Like, why would they? And that's a good thing too. Is like the price for bulk. Troll Toad is one of the bigger bulk buyers in there. Not the biggest, but they buy a good amount of bulk because they do mystery lots and stuff too, like they do. So they have bulk and stuff like that they throw into these grab bags and things. Of course, markets on those may not be as hot either. Of course, we're going into the holidays and might be still ramping up here. But either way, they're making more money by just buying things for dirt cheap compared to how it was and selling them for, a quarter, 50 cents, whatever. You're making your money back very, very quickly and then making more on top of that. And it makes a lot more sense to be pulling orders for your own business than pulling orders for other people. And that's really the whole reason behind this, is that you're hemorrhaging money pulling these cheap orders. You're paying these employees and to go through this giant warehouse full of cards, your own cards, bypassing your own cards to sell somebody else's stuff. That doesn't make sense. So I think that really is probably the push behind that. I think we're going to see less EVO sellers, obviously, and then we're going to see Troll Toad selling their own stuff on their own website again, because right now it's just, there's a lot of opportunity there. And I want to talk about it in another video. I'm going to do another video down the road talking about bulk and what you can do, and you yourself can do it at your house. I'm going to talk about it one day when I go over to New Cut, and I'll show you guys our direct setup and kind of what you can do to run a similar operation yourself, just by yourself. You don't have to have anything else. You don't have to have a big store. You don't have to have a bunch of employees pulling orders for you. You can do it all yourself. But I'm going to talk about that in another video. But that's the basic for the EVO program doing what it did. Makes brilliant sense. That's a good business move on Troll Toad's end. And I think prices are also going to reflect that, where prices are going to be healthier. There's going to be better margins for people, even if they're taking more fees. You're selling cards for more money. So it's a win-win really for the sellers that did get to stay. So that's all I got for that, guys. Hopefully that helps you explain and the idea and the mentality behind that. If you have anything else, if anybody has any corrections or anything, again, I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know anything about it other than what happened on the outside. So put down in the comments what you guys think, or what you guys know yourself. Were you an Evo seller that maybe got kicked off? You know, let me know. But I appreciate you guys clicking on the video, supporting the channels and the store like you do. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. See ya.